All right, if you are using the stats calculator in this section, then I need to help you uh, learn how to do range, standard deviation, and variance. Those are the calculations from 1.6 that we learned, and then also how to do weighted statistics. But you should know how to do that pretty much from section 1.5. So I've got two examples here. One is on reaction times, and it's just a single set of data. And then I have a frequency distribution below, which is a different example. It's got ages of dogs or something. Or actually, it says weights there, doesn't it? Ages and then weights. Whoops. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So let's start with our first example. We have reaction times, and we want to find, really, it's asked for a bunch of things, but we really just want the range, standard deviation, and variance. So since we have a list of data, a set that is, we want to go into the list editor of the calculator. We're given 3 lists to work with by default. Most of the time you just need either L1 alone or possibly L1 and L2. It's pretty rare that you actually need the use of L3. Now I will put this data in, and once it's in, we can go back to the calc screen. And now we just need to run one var stats. So it's called single var stats, and you just got a button right there for it. So you just click it and you type in where the list is located. So you used L1. So press enter and it will do all these calculations for you and just give you the output. So the standard deviation, this is a sample of data. Notice it says here, calculate these values for a sample of data. So I would use S instead of sigma. Sigma is our population standard deviation, and if it indicates that you have a population, use that value, otherwise use the sample. All right, so effectively like 10.47, we'll say, okay? Now, if you need to get the variance, the thing about the variance is that it's just the square of the standard deviation. So whatever your standard deviation is, so in this case 10.46544, well, I'll just say there, that'll go to there. Use as many decimals as you can. Actually, I'll just type the rest. And it's just because squaring decimal values is very sensitive to how many decimals you choose. So you want to get the most accurate answer you can, so use as many decimals as you can. Now to square a number, we use the caret notation, which is pretty common in calculating calculators. So caret 2, and that will square the value. Press enter, and you'll get the variance at that point. Okay, now we kind of lose the other results. So let's go back to the one var stats. We've still got the data in L1. We didn't lose that. We just need to run one var stats again to get back to our data. All right, so then the range. So we've already got the standard deviation and the variance, so it's just the range that's left. Well, the range is not given per se, but we do have the maximum and minimum data entry in the data set. So if I take the maximum minus the minimum, the difference between those is the range. So I'll just calculate that. So 39 is our answer. Okay, so the next example involves group data. All right, so this apparently now weights of dogs, not ages. I guess it would be crazy to have a dog that's 87 years old. Could be in dog years though. Anyway, let's go over to the list editor and start putting that data in. Now, since we have stuff in L1, it's going to be a lot more convenient just to hit clear to erase everything and start afresh. So we will begin entering data into L1. And what's nice is to get that midpoint, you take the sum of your class endpoints and then divide by 2. Now, the stats calculator will allow you to just enter something like that. And when it actually goes to do calculations, it will compute these on the fly. So it's totally fine to leave it as an expression that you can just calculate later. Or you can go off to the side and you can calculate them and then just put the answers there. Either way, it's no big deal. So once that's in, regardless how you get that done, you go back to the calc menu, and we're still doing single var stats again, but let's hit clear to get a nice fresh, reset. Then type in single var stats. But since we're using grouped data, you need to make sure you use L1, comma, L2. And the stats calculator will know the first list is your midpoints or individual data values. And the second list you give after the comma is the frequency with which those occur. So if you press the calculate button or just press enter, it will then do those calculations for you. Now, sample mean is a weighted statistic, so but that's generally asked for. So 57.28 in this case. And in this other situation, we want the weighted standard deviation of the sample. So we would want S. This is a weighted standard deviation for the sample. So 21.09, okay, if we round to 2 decimals. And that's how it's done.